Hello everyone, my name is Minal Devlekar. I am Assistant Professor from Department of Microbiology, Kamla Nehru College, Nagpur. So today we are going to discuss on topic cell signaling, that is G protein coupled receptor. Now G protein coupled receptors is also known as 7 transmembrane domain receptors because it passes through the plasma membrane 7 times. And it is also responsible for every aspect of human biology, for vision, taste, sense of smell, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous functions, metabolism, and immune regulations to reproduction. About 45% of all the pharmaceutical drugs are known to target GPCR. It constitutes G protein linked receptor, that is GPLR, a large protein family of receptors that sense molecules outside the cell and activate inside the signal transduction pathways and ultimately cellular responses. Now, which type of signaling molecules and ligands that binds and activate these receptors? That includes light sensitive compounds, that is for vision, as I earlier said, so many hormones and neurotransmitters that I will explain in later slide. Now we'll see the structure of GPCR. G protein is also known as guanine nucleotide binding protein, involved in transmitting signals and functions as molecular switches. So it is as you can see in this diagram, the green portion, that it is the 7 membrane spanning alpha helices. It is a tertiary structure of GPCR in which the one end, that is N terminus, is towards on which the ligand is bind, and the another end on which the G protein attaches with this alpha, beta and gamma subunits. As you can see in this first A portion, that is A part, when there is no signal, it is in the inactive form. It is in the GDP form. This activity is regulated by the factors or the signaling molecules that control their ability to bind and hydrolyze GTP into GDP. When they bind in the GTP form, when there is a signal, as you can see in the second diagram, that when the ligand is bind to the receptor, this G protein dissociate beta and gamma complex, which shows the cellular responses when they are on, and they shows that G is then hydrolyzed into G protein, GDP is hydrolyzed into GTP, that is in the active state. And once they bind to the, when there is no signal, they bind to the GDP form when they are off. So this is the simple regulation of GPCR. Now with this background of the structure and general properties of GPCR, the G proteins, we can look at what happens when the signal arrives at the cell surface and binds to the GPCR in the later slide. Now, which type of ligands that bind and activate these receptors? That is visual sense, that is rhodopsin, which is the photoreceptors present on eye cell. There is also the sense for the sense of smell, odorant molecules, taste, epinephrine, glucagon, serotonin, vasopressin and many more. Now GPCR shows this type of signal transduction pathways. So there are several steps where the signal is passed on through the intermediate molecules like G proteins, adenylate cyclases, cyclic AMP, protein kinase A, and so many. So there is activation of enzymes, that is adenylyl cyclase, phosphodiesterase, phospholipase C beta. They also activate the secondary messengers pathways like cyclic AMP, IP3DAG pathways that I will explain in the later slide. Now, what is the G protein? G proteins are made up of small G protein and large G protein. Small G protein is similar to G alpha linked with GDP and GTP, having a GTPase activity. Examples like RAC, CDC42, these are for signal transductions, signaling molecules. RAB for vesicular trafficking. RHO, that is Rho, for actin polymerization. ARF for ADP ribosylation. EFTU, elongation factor in translation process. RAN, that is in the nuclear signaling. Now large G protein is like a heterotrimeric G protein coupled to GPCR, and it is made up of subunits alpha, beta and gamma, same like a G protein. Now let's talk about the regulation of G protein. As I earlier told you that G protein is made up of alpha, beta and gamma subunits. So beta and gamma subunits can form a stable dimeric complex referred as beta gamma complex, and this G protein located within the cells are activated by GPCR that span the cell membrane. As you can see in this diagram, inside the cell on plasma membrane, G protein binds to GDP. Yes, this G protein binds to GDP, and when in inactive state, and GTP in the active state. So when the GPCR binds to the signaling molecules, this receptor is activated, shows some conformational changes, and thereby allowing it to bind to the inactive G protein, and when this occurs, GTP displaces GDP when activates the G protein. So this newly activated G protein migrates along the cell membrane and it binds to the adenylate cyclase. As you can see in this diagram, these activate adenylate cyclase which convert ATP into cyclic AMP, that leads to the next step in the pathway and generate the cellular responses. So after the transduction, G protein function as GTPase and hydrolyzes the bound GTP, which causes the phosphate group to fall off, and this regenerate GDP and inactivates G protein. So this cycle it repeats like this. So this is a simple regulation of GPCR. Now let's see what are the different types of G alpha proteins. So first we'll see G alpha S subunit, that is the stimulatory subunit. G alpha subunit in the GTP form, first it is in the active state and it forms adenylate cyclase. So after the activation of adenylate cyclase, it stimulates the cyclic AMP. So what happens when there is a modification of G alpha S subunit? It shows the cholera toxin. Now what is meant by cholera toxin? It is simply caused by the Vibrio cholerae, which is the one of the type of bacteria. It affects the intestinal epithelial cells, which causes the massive diarrhea, and there is because of this diarrhea there is a continuous loss of electrolyte and water. So what happened after the modification by ADP ribosylation on G alpha S? G alpha S in GTP form, it locked in the active state, so this GTP hydrolysis activity is lost due to this cholera toxin. So there is a continuous formation of adenylyl cyclase which stimulate the cyclic AMP. So just because of the continuous stimulation of cyclic AMP, there is a continuous loss of electrolytes and water molecule in the lumen of intestine, as you can see in this diagram. So this is the simple G alpha S subunit modification which causes the cholera toxin. Now the second subunit is G alpha I, that is the inhibitory subunit. So what is the function of G alpha I? So it shows the opposite effect of G alpha S. When G alpha I in the GTP in the active state, when there is the signal is present, it shows no adenylate cyclase, so there is no formation of cyclic AMP. Just same opposite effect of G alpha S. And in case of when the signal is absent, G alpha I in GDP form in the inactive state, it shows the formation of adenylate cyclase, which shows the continuous stimulation of cyclic AMP. So this is the simple effect of this G alpha I. But after the modification of ADP ribosylation of G alpha I, it shows the pertussis toxin. Now what is meant by pertussis toxin? It is caused by Bordetella pertussis, which shows the colonization of respiratory tract and causes the whooping cough. So once there is a modification of ADP ribosylation on G alpha I, this G alpha I in GDP form, it locked in the inactive state. And as I earlier told you that G-alpha and GDP in an inactive state shows a continuous supply of adenylyl cyclase which stimulates cyclic AMP. So if there is it is locked in the inactive state, there is a continuous formation of adenylyl cyclase, and there is a continuous cyclic AMP mediated signaling activity. So results in there is a colonization of respiratory tract which causes the whooping cough. So this is the pertussis toxin because of the modification of G-alpha I. Now there is one more type of G-alpha T subunit, which is one of the coupled receptor found in the photoreceptors of the eye cells. Eye cells containing rod and cone cells, which is responsible for vision, and these photoreceptors are light sensitive, responsible for visual transduction process, and these encode a light stimulus as a chemical output. So what happens on G-alpha T, that is, it is the T means transducer subunit. So when there is a light absent, so first condition, when the light is absent, what actually happens? The cyclic GMP stimulate and opens the sodium channel, and this G-alpha T, when the light is absent in the GDP form, it is in the inactive state, but still there is a formation of cyclic GMP and it opens the sodium channels to state that there is no light. But as you can see in this diagram, when there is a light which on the rhodopsin receptors, there is one enzyme that is 11-cis-retinol, and it converts, when there is a light, it converted into 11-trans-retinol, and this G-alpha T in the GDP form converted into GTP, that is inactive to active, and it also stimulate one more enzyme, that is phosphodiesterase. And this phosphodiesterase convert this cyclic GMP into GMP, which is in the inactive form, and closes this sodium channel. So the condition, when the light is present, it closes sodium channel, and when the light is absent, it opens the sodium channel. So this is the simple G-alpha T response for a vision. Now the one more subunit is G-alpha Q subunit. So basically it is also heterotrimeric protein, and it activates phospholipase C, and PLC in turn hydrolyzes phosphatidyl inositol 4,5-bisphosphate, that is PIP2, and diacylglycerol and inositol triphosphate signal transduction pathway. So as you can see in this diagram, it activates DAG, which is the secondary messenger that activate protein kinase C, that is, you can see in this diagram PKC, and this PKC and IP3 once activated, there is a channel which is present on ER. This green color portion is ER, endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulums always store calcium ions, but after the activation of PKC, it activate and IP3, it acts on a calcium channel to release the calciums from the stores, and there is phosphorylation of so many proteins. So it regulates now various metabolic regulations and gene regulations. Now the last portion is the regulation of glycogen metabolism by epinephrine. So it is also related to GPCR, how this epinephrine act on GPCR and regulate the glycogen metabolism. So as you can see in this diagram, once the epinephrine attaches to this glucagon receptor, there is a G-alpha S protein which attaches with the alpha beta subunit, and it activates adenylate cyclase, and how this adenylate cyclase converted into cyclic AMP. So this show in this flow chart that G-alpha S in the GTP form is active in the active state. It activates adenylate cyclase, so it stimulates cyclic AMP, and ultimately it activates PKA. PKA is the protein kinase A, and this PKA, as you can see in this diagram, it is made up of tetrameric protein, that is two dimeric form is catalytic subunit, which is in the red color, and the purple color which shows the regulatory subunit. So this is the pKa in the inactive form. But after the stimulation of cyclic AMP, this regulatory subunit is dissociated. So this regulatory subunit, as you can see in this diagram, is dissociated, and now it is simply in the catalytic form, and now it is converted from inactive to active form. Now this, after the activation of protein kinase A, what actually happens, it containing a catalytic subunit which phosphorylates two different proteins. So which two different proteins? So it is, first one is the glycogen phosphorylase kinase and glycogen synthase. So if suppose it phosphorylase glycogen synthase, it can actually stop the process of formation of or synthesis of glycogen. So it will become inactive, and glycogen phosphorylase kinase will become active. And what it will do? When there is blood glucose level is down, this glycogen will break down into glucose and it will maintain the blood glucose level. So how this epinephrines regulate the glycogen metabolism by GPCR is as simple as that. By simply the activation of G alpha S in the converted into the inactive to active state and activate this protein kinase A. So this is all about a GPCR. Hope you guys understood very well. If there are any queries, you can comment in the box. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much.